So I wrote a new project today because of a news article that came out just a few days ago, and I think I added it somewhere in this mess. Yeah, I added it here. The point is, this news article came out that said, with Microsoft Remote Desktop Protocol, you can log in with the old password after you change your password. And that sounds insane. I mean, why would you change your password? One reason is because your password got compromised. And you imagine that people can only log in with the new password, but that's not true. Now, when I first tried it, I made a normal local account, and I was not able to log in with an old password, but then I learned more about it. What's going on is this is when you use a cloud account. And as you know, we've talked about it a lot, in these modern Windows 11 machines, Microsoft keeps trying to get you not to log in with a local account anymore, but to log in with a cloud account. So if you do that, what's going on is you can use your old password, and let's take a look at it. So you just go here and create a new account. Now, I've already got an account. If I go to my Opera, I think it's already logged into my account. Let's see. All right. Yeah, here we are. Let me get back to my Opera. All right. So I can log in here. So I made an account called sbounddemo@hotmail.com with a password I know. So I have a cloud account to log into my Windows machine. So I can go on here, and instead of logging in my Windows 10 as these things, I can go to this one. That's the account. Now, it made me create a PIN when I logged in. So I can get in with that. Now, if I click this, I think there used to be a way to tell who you are. I actually don't know how to tell who I am anymore. Here, it says S-bound, which is kind of interesting. I wonder what who am I would say. Okay, for some reason it called me this, just the first 5 letters, but this account is a Windows Cloud account, logging in with that Hotmail address. I don't know how to get Windows to tell us that anymore. Back in the days of XP and Vista, you could click the Start button and your username would just appear up there. But now there it is, it's down here, S-bound demo. That's my full name. There's probably a way to see my whole account. Oh, there we are. If you click that, now you see sbounddemo@hotmail.com. So I've logged in with a cloud account, and that has a bizarre effect. So now I'm going to connect with Remote Desktop Protocol. Now, the way you do that is you turn on Remote Desktop Settings, and you just turn this button on. Now, when you do that, this machine can now be remote controlled by Microsoft RDP, and you can see what users are allowed here, and it'll tell you any users that are in the administrators group can connect. So when I logged in with my local account, I created the new account for the cloud email address, and I made it an administrator. And then you have to log in once locally to finish creating the account. So now I've created that account for sbounddemo@hotmail.com. So I can just get the IP address of this machine with ipconfig. And once I have that, ending in 130, I can connect with RDP, since I've turned on the Remote Desktop Protocol. So I can move this machine to the side. And now I need a remote client. Now, it depends on your operating system. If you're using a Windows machine, a remote desktop client is built in. If you're using a Mac like I am, you use this thing from the Apple Store called the Microsoft Windows app. And it lets you connect to machines here. So all I did was add the machine's IP address, and I said, make me type in the name and password every time. So I'm going to log in here, and it asked for credentials. So I put in my cloud account, which is sbounddemo@hotmail.com. And I put in my old password. Well, it is in fact my old password I'm adding, but the point is I can put in the old password and it will let me in. And if I go into the cloud account and change my password, what happens is, let me get back to my, somehow try to get back to my instructions. Here we are. So after you've done this and log in with remote access, then you can go back on the cloud in your browser back to outlook.live.com, and you can change your cloud password here. You click your little icon up here indicating your initials, and then you can just change your password on the cloud, because that's the reason why Microsoft tries to make us all use these cloud accounts, just like Apple does. So some of your data is stored in the cloud. And when you do it, you can disconnect and reconnect, and you'll be able to log in with the old password before you changed it. And Microsoft says this is intended behavior, and the point is, I think they want you to be able to connect with RDP even if you don't have internet access. So instead of forcing you every time you log in with a cloud account to connect to the cloud server, it caches your credentials. So it recognizes if you're using previously used credentials again and lets you in. Now, I don't know why they do that. I can see how that might be a feature for better performance under some conditions where your network connection is unreliable, but who's got an unreliable network connection these days? And if your network connection is no good, how are you reaching it by RDP anyway? That's why I don't understand the logic at all. And certainly, the thing I really don't understand is if you're going to make the default something horrible like this, there ought to at least be some way to turn it off. And there doesn't seem to be. So the news article came out a few days ago about this, and I tried to find the cure, and it's been going back and forth on Twitter or on Mastodon. It's been one of these exciting days when a new vulnerability comes out, and I'm developing projects and researching it, and so are some few other people. They're all trying to figure out how it works. So first I did this one. You get to connect, and you'll get a flag here to turn in. You've used the automated scoreboard if you want to do this project. And then I tried to stop this behavior where it keeps letting you log in with the old password. So there is a thing called Credential Manager, which stores your credentials. I Googled, how do I get rid of the cached credentials on a Windows RDP server? And it said, try this. So there's a thing called Credential Manager. You can go to Windows Credentials, and you will see your account down there, S-Bound Demo. So you can remove these credentials. That would seem to do it. But after I did that, you can still just reconnect with the old password. So there's another thing. Now, there's been one of these, an old technology from Microsoft for a long time. If you're on a domain-joined machine, every time you log in, it's supposed to connect to the domain controller to authenticate you. But for decades or more, Microsoft has had this thing called cached credentials. So you can log in to a domain-joined machine even if you can't reach the domain controller. It will let you log in with cached credentials. It remembers what your old password should be. So that's one thing I know about, and that you can control in local group policy. There's a thing here called interactive logon, number of previous logons to cache, and you can lower that to 0. So it no longer does that caching. And you can force that to take immediate effect with GP update /force, and that clears off the remembered domain passwords. But it doesn't stop this behavior. You log out and log back in, you can still do the old one. So somewhere in the Windows operating system, it is remembering these old passwords. I don't know how many it's remembering, and I don't know how to clear them off. And Microsoft, as they often do, when this becomes known and it starts rattling around the security community and hitting the press, their first statement is, everything's fine, just shut up. As the scandal grows, I imagine that within the next week or two, they will be forced to actually deal with this in some way. Either by patching it or at least by telling us how you can turn it off. Certainly, I think I'm not alone in saying I would like to be able to turn this off. And I think companies that are using RDP for their servers would really want to turn this off. I mean, that's crazy. They have periodic password changes for exactly this reason, to make sure the old password won't work, and that's not preventing the old password from working. That's intolerable. So they've got to come up with some way to turn this off. But right now, I don't know what it is. I tried everything I could think of, and I haven't found it. If I do find any way to actually turn it off, I'll add it to this project. But anyway, you can try that if you like. And that's all I wanted to show you today.